The King, the Prince, and Their Secret Millions uh, is the title of a documentary aired last Saturday on British television on Channel 4. Now, you know me, I'm one for capitalism, and up until now, as long as they pay their income tax on the face of it, there's nothing more to see.
Mm.
But we have to dig a little deeper to find the rotten meat. Right? There's always some
Yeah.
skeleton somewhere. Now, the King Charles and Prince William have buildings and lands that they lease or rent out, as the case may be. It appears that the buildings rented out are on private tax-exempt estates, and their customers, who are they renting these buildings out to? Mainly the NHS,
Okay.
state-funded schools, and even the British Armed Forces.
Okay.
The Duchy of Lancaster is an estate owned by the king and spreads over large swathes of land and property across the UK, dating back to the 14th century, handed down.
Oh well. Yes.
Likewise, the Duchy of Cornwall is owned by Prince William and provides him with an income. The estates, of course, don't pay neither corporation tax nor capital gains tax. So these taxes that Rachel Reeves put in the budget, when you pass the buildings down and your things down to your children, there's a 40% levy on these two duchies. Ain't gonna happen. As the song goes, past the duchy on the left-hand side.
Yes.
The King's estate, Charles's estate, closed a deal to house a fleet of electric ambulances, electric vehicle ambulances, which is valued almost £1 million a year, just to harbour them, just to put them in a huge warehouse, to keep them in there for when they're going to be shipped out to the hospitals and such.
Okay.
William has charged the Navy £1 million to build jetties and more warships in Cornwall. So some of the coastline of Cornwall belongs to William, apparently.
Right.
Now, I'm not, trying to piss on the fireworks of the royal family, right? They can do that. Private landowners can do that. If they've got a tax break, they can do that as well, right? But the question I have to ask is the ethics behind it. Should the Commander-in-Chief of the British Armed Forces be allowed to receive payments from the very same entity they're in charge of? Is there not a conflict of interest?
Interesting one. Yeah.
Right. So Charles is basically saying to the armed forces, you can rent this land as long as it's mine, and you give me the rent.
Well, yeah.
Right. And something that, public spending in the UK is a bit tight at the moment, or should be a bit tight at the moment. And of course, this is all on top of the royal allowance given to the family by you and I, the taxpayer. We do this in good faith.
Yeah.
I know they've got to keep up appearances, and I know that but we don't know if any of this money we're giving to them is going to the upkeep of these duchies. And so we're paying for the buildings. We could be paying for the buildings that we're renting from them.
Right.
Okay. So another one to get your head around. And so I asked myself, is the royal family biting the hand that feeds it? Off you go.
Well, I mean, obviously, there's like a probably there's got to be the count somewhere, whether they're online or you could ask for access to see where the money's going. Yeah, because I mean, I
The
think
title, hold up. The title of the documentary
yeah,
was "The King, the Prince,
yeah,
and Their Secret Millions." It was only discovered now.
yeah. Okay,
It was only discovered recently.
right.
They kept Mum,
Yeah,
Queen's Mum.
okay, yes, okay, right, yes. I mean, okay. I, I imagine this is all on account somewhere. Um, I don't know. I don't know how you get access to it. If it might be online. Um, certainly from when we pay taxes, and I think it's £1 a year per person actually goes to the royal family. So I believe. It's ages since I've looked into it. Yeah, I mean, I thought, well, okay, it's a slight investment. They go around promoting the United Kingdom and for all its glory, good things, and wondrous history and everything else. Yeah, I mean, we live in Brazil. We know that the Brazilians are interested in aspects of the royal family. Yeah. Watch The Crown, and they ask me if it's true. I said, well, the history's there. I don't know if that's how the family actually behave. Um, yeah, it's an interesting question. Now this thing about if Charles is renting out places to the armed forces when he's in charge of it, it is um, a very, very difficult position for me because yeah, if I worked at a company or was in charge of it, and I know businessmen do it sometimes, they rent out. Yeah, I'd say it's vested interest. I don't know if it's a conflict of interest. It's probably something that's been long standing since before he was commander of the armed forces. But one day he must have known that he would be taking over that mantle. Unless he's somehow worked that there is actually probably, well, I imagine he's got people working around him and lawyers who tell him what's legal. And yes, there's a difference between legality and ethnicity. No, ethics. Yeah, ethnicity, something different.
Let me
Yeah,
try. Let me try and draw. Let me try and draw a parallel to this.
yeah.
You know what a tallyman is,
Yeah, pay the tally man. Yeah, yeah,
right? Okay. Well, the tallyman paid the worker.
yeah,
In the mines in the old, very very old days.
yeah.
The miners they'd come up to get their wage, get
Mm,
paid by tallies,
yeah,
right? The tallyman gave them the tallies, and
mm,
then they had to spend these tallies in the shops owned by the mines,
yeah,
right? So basically,
mm,
the the mines didn't actually the mines paid the workers in with food,
yeah,
which was quite often overpriced,
yes, yeah,
So it didn't really cost the mines anything
mm,
because the profits they got with the food
yeah,
that they got, paid.
yeah,
And basically that's what we're getting
mm,
with the king at the moment. If he's renting out land to
yeah,
the armed forces,
yeah,
you know, he's in charge of the armed forces. It's his
mm,
business, if you like.
mm, yeah.
And he's saying, well, you can use land as long as it's mine.
Mm. Well, I don't know if he said that, but yes, there's probably a
No,
long-standing thing.
basically that's what it looks like.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's it would depend how long-standing this has been and how I suppose where it is as well. If it's of importance where it is as well. I mean, that's always the other thing. Um,
Would the army rent out, pay for land that is in a place that isn't important?
they
You know,
probably
just
do.
just
Yeah,
well,
yeah,
you got to
yeah,
got to be pretty dumb. Oh, what did I say then? You need
yeah.
to be pretty dumb to do that.
Um, yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, actually, they've got historic buildings and all that, but actually, unlike many other organisations, they're not actually obliged to actually keep listed buildings up to up to scratch. Well, I believe they're not. I don't know, because on their land they've got a lot. Yeah, I'm just trying to think. I mean, yeah, it's struck cold on me. It wouldn't surprise me. I don't think it's a deliberate move against it. It's probably something that's been overlooked. Maybe some journalist has found it. I hope they gave the Royal Estates, not the Royal, no, it's not the Royal Estates here. The Duchess right to reply, to explain their position. It might be that the Charles himself wasn't even aware. Because don't forget, sometimes he sits up here and he'll have people doing the business down beneath him. He just sees the bottom line.
There you are. I'm sure he's thinking, well, where did this million come from?
Yeah. Well, I often say that to my wife. Where did this million come from? Then when I highlight it, it disappears quite quickly.
Don't ask, don't tell. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. We got a million from. Yeah. That'd last about half a day. Yeah. It's. I really don't. I don't know. My home thinking is it should be investigated. Certainly, particularly where, as the royal family now are possibly heading into quite a precarious situation. I understand on certain rumblings I'm hearing from the UK now. I'm a royalist. I mean, I still like the idea of having a head of state in that respect. But a head of state that actually does something and stays out of politics. Unfortunately, it does appear that that has changed somewhat in recent months, which has rather unsettled me. Let's just say that. And yeah, I'm beginning to think, what is the royal family for? If they've got all this land that's available for the armed forces and the armed forces are paying them, why are the armed forces paying them? And I agree with you on that. That yeah, we're all worried about the cost of the armed forces. We got to build them up. We could be saving ourselves a few £1 million a year. Yeah. And
I mean, it could be that the armed forces are defending the very land it's renting.
Well, I've got to think about that. I thought the idea that the armed forces are meant to defend the whole of the United Kingdom,
which basically is the Duchy of Lancaster.
Yeah.
Right. So the armed forces is going to defend the very land it's paying to be on the land.
Well, yeah, but which is weird, I admit. But yeah, I mean,
I know that if the royal family was put on social security benefits and they were mean tested, I know that the council tax for Buckingham Palace would go up considerably, considering they have all those bedrooms that aren't being used.
No, but actually, no, isn't Buckingham Palace actually owned by us anyway? It's not owned by the Queen or the King. Sorry, it's not owned by the King or the royal family. We allow them to live there. I believe. I read the other day. Again, it was on the internet.
Well, since I've seen this about the King, the Prince, and the Secret Millions, Charles has been living in my head rent free.
I can imagine that view, Steve. Yeah. I'll probably watch it and think, oh well, it's probably how it's always been. Keep up the stiff upper lip, Charles. Keep doing what you're doing. Only stay out of some of the nonsense you're staying. Yeah. Dissolve Parliament. Oh, sorry. Did I say something? Yeah. By the way, people, yeah, he can't actually do that. But it's a interesting thought. You've informed some people, including myself, something I wasn't aware of. I knew he had land, and I know he makes money from it, and I know he pays taxes. I believe the royal family pay taxes.
Well, not in these cases, because the Duchy of Lancaster and the Duchy of Cornwall are exempt from tax.
Right. I'll have to have a look into this. Maybe one of the viewers can enlighten us a bit further if it's accurate or not. Because
oh well, yeah. I'm only going by Channel 4, so
Despite everything else, they're anti everything, but they're normally quite accurate with their information. Yeah. Yeah. Well, is Channel 4 still owned by the government? Did they sell off their stake in it? Just out of interest.
I've been away from England for far too long.
Yeah, I heard something the other day, and I didn't really
40
pick up.
years I've been away.
Yeah, well, yeah, good old Channel 4 used to be quite a good channel, but that's another matter.